Christianity has a more extended history in China than in most Asian countries. Many emperors have allowed the Christian faith to thrive in China for centuries. However, lately, the churches have faced various forms of persecution, leading to this until today. Millions of Chinese Christians risk their lives daily to follow Jesus in China. With the leadership of Xi Jinping turning out to be a nightmarish, full-blown Mao regime, communist officials have begun stepping up against large Christian churches to implement their so-called stability maintenance measures. Are using barbaric persecution and harassment tactics such as sinicization, which is the process of bringing something under Chinese influence, by various rights abuses and educational reforms. The Chinese government has gone all out to ensure that stringent laws are set in place to persecute Christians and entirely abolish the freedom to practice their faith. However, the number of Christians in China has been growing exponentially over the past decade. Leading to a rise in the number of Chinese Christians being arrested. It's estimated that over 100,000 Christians were detained in China back in 2018, and the number has seemingly doubled, with no estimates allowed to be made. Many believers have been taken away and not heard from again. Churches and worship centers have been demolished in Dalian, Jiangxi, Tongguan, Shaanxi, and several other provinces. Many Chinese Christian leaders and believers have been detained from all over China, with prison authorities denying these prisoners any attorney visit or contact with family members. Those arrested have also been denied medical treatment and received harsh sentences disproportionate to their alleged crime. While the CCP officials continue to use raids, fines, and inhuman torture tactics to control the spread of Christianity and stop those from worshipping in secret.
The Chinese government has ordered churches to take down crosses and to show their patriotism by replacing them with portraits of President Xi Jinping and the Chinese flag. They have even begun using the latest technology to impose heavy tightening measures, which include phone registration for believers to go to church only to have them tracked, and eventually shut down those places of worship.
Details and images of the unspeakable treatments imposed on Christian believers are explicitly hidden from the world outside China. However, a few have been managed to be smuggled outside the communist state, revealing gore and harsh punishments for prisoners of the Christian faith. Those who failed to endure the brutal treatment were left to die in prison cells unattended, with reports stating body parts and organs being harvested. Several human rights activists have indicated that Chinese house church Christians are among the primary victims forced towards organ harvesting, with the Communist Party, the health system, hospitals, and the transplant profession all complicit in the crime. The Chinese government has also laid restrictions on Christians traveling out of the country, with sources revealing that Christian students applying for study abroad at other Christian-run institutions were denied passports by the officials under COVID restrictions. Yet somehow, members of various persecuted churches have fled China, seeking refuge in neighboring countries, and several more have been seeking asylum in the US. The persecution is said to have heightened in the last 40 years, and due to decades of government oppression, many Chinese Christians do not have their own Bible or access to discipleship literature. New religious laws that took effect in 2018 were directed against young people's rights to access the gospel. Schools have been introduced to a new curriculum that encourages children to attack their parents' faith in Christ and to report them to the authorities. Schools have even held special meetings in many places to teach children how to oppose religion. As part of the recent reforms to curb the practice of Christianity within the land, the Chinese government has decided to rewrite the Bible with what it calls an update with socialist values, removing passages that don't reflect communist beliefs. With all these horrendous attempts and measures imposed by the Chinese leaders and the government to get the Christians in China to forcibly deny their faith in Christ, it is upon us to pray fervently as brothers and sisters in Christ for those facing dire forms of persecution daily. May deliverance come speedily for those who live for the Lord and be saved from the demonic class within the land. As the Apostle Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verses 8 and 9, "We are pressured in every way but not crushed. We are perplexed but not in despair. We are persecuted but not abandoned. We are struck down but not destroyed." May the Lord give strength to the persecuted, and let his kingdom come to China, and let his will be done for that land of China. Let us look to the Lord until he shows mercy to those persecuted in China and worldwide for his name's sake.